Alright, after, what stream is this? 16 streams? We have finally reached a thrilling conclusion to the fantastic tale of Clair Obscur. It's time, yeah. And I'm now ready to open my brain box to it and talk about it for a little bit. I guess we can begin at the ending. I sometimes when I do these thoughts videos, or thoughts things, what's your total time? My total time in game is probably different than my one on Steam, but we can go look. So playtime is 64 hours, but on Steam it's like 80 hours. I don't know. Oh, playtime probably doesn't count load times, I assume. It only counts times that you actually played the game. This has to be in the high nines. What the hell? No, that's ridiculous. This game, French game, sure, values. I guess the in-game time doesn't count. Doesn't count reloads and retries and stuff. But yeah, I was gonna say, usually I feel like I forget to talk about endings sometimes, because that ending happens, and we like talk about everything else that happened in the game. So let's begin with the ending of this one, I guess. For once, we'll start at the end, and then we'll move our way backwards from there, I guess. God damn it! What? The first one was so nice. What is Reviere's Dans Lumiere? Reviere Dans Lumiere. Let's just do this. This one was nice. A 10 that's a ramp move for. No game can be a 10. From my character, like, I want music from the game. Alright. I think we'll, I've said this before, I've tried to do some of these, like, more structured, where I'm, like, we're, like, actually going through each element of the game and trying to, like, analyze them or whatever, but we're just gonna do it off the top of the dome. I feel like that's a little bit more natural. I think before we talk about the ending, though, I think probably the part of this game that I think blew most minds, and that was the most extraordinary for a lot of people, myself included, is just kind of like how out of nowhere this game came. This isn't some famed franchise from highly acclaimed video game developers that we were waiting for, you know, 20 years or whatever. This isn't Bioshock 4. It's not a game that has any history to it, you know. It's not Mass Effect 5 or whatever, Mass Effect 4, depending on if you count Andromeda. So and I think a lot of people, myself included, didn't have any high expectations for this game, right? Like, I saw the initial trailer, and like I usually do, I see a trailer. If I think it looks interesting, I'm like, all right, cool. I'm not gonna look at anything else for this game now. I'm just gonna add it to my list. I'll play it maybe at some point. That's it. None saw this coming, not even the devs, yeah. So that's like a huge. I mean, it's one of those, like, you know, are we gonna judge a game based on external factors for the game? It's like, yeah, to a certain extent, right? Because ultimately, we play games like this for stories, right? The idea of this game is that there's a really interesting story in it. It's a story. It's a game that tells an entrancing tale, and ultimately, things outside of the game can be an interesting story too, right? So obviously everything adds to the whole package, and it's the fact that it's the fact that it came out of nowhere. It kind of like, initially, to me, my first, when I saw the initial trailer, I was like, oh, this is gonna be a this is gonna be another, you know, AAA fighting game. It looked like, in my impression was like, it looks like it's gonna have like some sort of story built into it, like a pretty short, maybe like a 20-hour linear game or whatever. That's kind of what my brain was saying to me. Gonna have a lot of like famous actors in it, and then it comes out and it's nothing like I expected it to be, but it's everything I would have wanted it to be if I had looked at it. So really cool. So we have that, and then we have the fact that it was made by so few people, right? This isn't a 600,000 project development. This is some stuff that the Guillaume, or whatever his name is, just started like working on the side. Beep, 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 beep. And then it just like come together in this fantastic rainbow of a story of finding people on Reddit or on like random music forums for the music guy who made some of the like best video game music I've ever heard in my entire life. Like, it's hard for me to say if it's the best, but it's definitely some of the best. Like the Lumiere theme, or the Lumiere song. That song I'm gonna put on my playlist, because that one is just really, really, really good. It's so catchy. And there's a bunch of other songs too that I don't remember the name to, but that I'm definitely gonna have on my playlist going forward. And that's pretty rare. Like, Alan Wake 2, I think it's the only other game where I like consistently have a lot of songs from it on my playlist. For most of the games, it's just like I'm not that interested in the songs once I'm done with them. So that's pretty good. Low 80 on Metacritic, probably devs to the voice actors. Top 33 there, by the way. It's an Outer Wilds moment, yeah. Yeah, and that's the other part too, right? It's like, from their perspective, they saw this as like a debut game. Like, we're gonna release our first game. It's probably gonna do okay. Like we think we have a pretty solid package here. It's probably gonna do pretty decently overall. We'll probably have like a little cool cult following of people that will really love the game, and then we can maybe like expand on that to do more in the future, right? And the game comes out and it's just like everyone's like, this is the best game I've ever played. You know, no like early access release, nothing like that. Just straight up just threw the game out there, and here we are, right? But yeah, maybe for context for the ending, we should talk about what the story of the game is. And we can try to like... There are some questions for some things, but we can try to interpret some of the events, at least. I've probably forgotten a lot of the questions that I've had, but the general gist of it is that a family live in a world where they have mystical abilities which they can use to create living paintings, living canvases. And presumably what has happened is that Verso, the real... what's like a name for the real Verso? Should I just call them by... I was thinking, like, should I call him by, like, should I call him the boy? Because he's the boy in the painting, right? But, I'll say real Verso. Real Verso has presumably been playing inside this canvas for a while. It's like... I guess painting isn't his thing necessarily, right? Because it's music, which seems a little bit... real Verso, painted Verso, yeah. Which I guess is a little bit taboo in their family. It's the same with Alicia, which I think is into writing, presumably. Or we'll say real Mael, because Mael and Alicia are kind of inseparable. Versus is well, we can start by saying that obviously the way that these paintings are made, it does infuse a lot of styles, right? So music feels like it would be a natural part of it, but it seems like the idea is that Verso has spent a lot of time inside this canvas, kind of just creating like a world for himself, almost like a kid would do. You know, when I was a kid, I would just like run around outside and I would like do make-believe things, right? I'd be like, ooh, this tree is a monster and I'm gonna fight the monster, right? But Verso did this in this painting, and they did a lot of it with Clair. They were like in there together, just kind of like doing their thing. And I guess there's no real traces of Mael in here, so I guess this is not something that she was interested in or invited to do, question mark? Maybe she didn't have an affinity for it, maybe she just didn't care. But at some point, Verso dies. There's the writers kill Verso. I guess we don't have any exact idea what that means, but we know that Mael gets the blame for it. Real Mael gets the blame for it. Actually, we can just call him Mael. We'll just say Mael. Mael gets the blame for it. And Verso dies in like a fire. He saves Mael from a fire. And then the entire family starts grieving, and the way Aline, Verso's mother, grieves is that she travels into this painting that Verso's made, and she just recreates her family in there. She just gets stuck in there, essentially. She just lives in there, and just refuses to come out, which, at least according to Renoir, real Renoir, is dangerous. Because I guess the longer you spend in the painting, the more you lose yourself, and the weaker you become in the real world. And I guess the idea is that eventually you probably just perish, or you get stuck in the painting or something like that. So eventually, because Aline refuses to leave the painting, versus Mom refuses to leave the painting, Renoir comes in and he's like, alright, I'm shutting this down. And that's when the fracture happens, I think. Like, they start a battle with each other, but I think they're both about as powerful as each other. So they're stuck in like an almost stalemate, like a close to stalemate. Actually, I think Aline is more powerful, right? Because Clair has to help him. Specifically, I think that's mentioned that. Let me get some lights on in there. I think it's specifically mentioned that Clair has to help Renoir, because otherwise Renoir would just be trapped under the monolith for all eternity. And the way Clair helps is that she creates the neurons, and the nevrons, essentially, like, she can't take the chroma from Aline, but she can prevent it from going to Aline or something like that. I think the biggest, and then like the conflict begins. I think the biggest misunderstanding on their side was that it was a game for people who liked both Souls and turn-based, when it actually both groups liked it. Oh yeah, true. Yeah, and it captures. We can talk about like what this game captures from a gameplay perspective a bit later, but yeah, it definitely captures like a lot of different genres. Let me write that down so I remember to talk about it. Gameplay genres. Real Verso painted Verso and fragment of Verso soul. Verso. The writers do something to trick Alicia, and Verso saves her by sacrificing himself. Yeah. Real Noir. Leia says Aline is better. Yeah. Aline is like CEO of painters. She even says scales by having her chroma not returned to her when everyone's. Yeah, exactly. And from Clair's perspective, the reason she does this. I guess Clair is a person a lot of people don't like. She gets painted as a villain a little bit, I guess. But I feel like Clair is just she's like the realist. It feels a little bit like for her, I think Clair. I mean, we know Clair loved Verso. There's no doubt about that, right? There's literally zero chance she didn't love Verso. This painting is a cumulative work from both of them, right? They spent a lot of time in this painting. But I think she's more of like the rational realist type, where she's like, dudes, we have to. The writers are trying to murder us. We have to fight the writers, and we can't do that if you guys are just stuck in this stupid painting, fighting each other all the time. For her, I like. If I put myself in Clair's shoes, I bet she wouldn't mind the painting being around. She wouldn't mind having a place to go and to like have this Verso world. And I think she only cares about it being destroyed now because she needs the people back, right? She needs her parents back. She needs everyone back so they can actually go and deal with the real world problems before they get destroyed. Claire's a little kid who has to adult because her parents aren't. Claire's very emotionally detached. Yeah, sure. I think, like I said, I think she's just like. The impression I got is just that she's like. She does what needs to be done. Like she probably does not cherish the idea of destroying Verso's painting, but ultimately, if that's what she has to do to get Aline out and to get her dad out, then that's what has to happen. It also makes me wonder if, the writers started a fire. Like, what does that mean? Is this a thing where I have like two ideas in my head, and I think one of them might make the most sense with the game, though it's really, really, really weird, and the other one is just what I guess the most generic answer would be. So generic answer is that in this make-believe world that they are in, there are different people that have different powers. Some people have this painting power, some people have like a writing power, maybe some people have music power, right? That's like the generic answer. I feel that's what might make the most sense. Arguably, it's like, it's like an alternate alternate universe Earth, where people have some special superpowers tied to like art. The writers gave Alicia a combustible typewriter. Though, if we think about it from the perception of the game, I do wonder if it can be a little bit of like an Inception situation, where it's like, we are in the painted world. Could the painters be in the righted world, and then the writers are in the, you know, could this be like a little bit of like a layered situation, right? Where it's like, we have these painters in the written world, and the like writers just wrote some fire into the world because, you know, whatever, somehow, some way, somehow. I feel like that could make sense with the world, though it would create a lot of like unnecessary layers of confusion, I guess. So probably not where they're going with the story, but still an interesting thing to consider, right? Like, how are the writers starting a fire? What does that mean? Do the painters have the ability to change the real world too? And that's what the writers did. They wrote the fire into existence in the real world, or are they like a step above? Yeah, that's like the prologue. It's called the epilogue for some reason, but that's the prologue. Well, it's not called the epilogue, but that's the prologue. The prologue is that. Then 67 years pass. Yeah. So as the world shatters, the people in the world have no idea what's going on, right? Despite the fact that we have a whole painted version of the what are they called? Dusant? What's their name again? Dussis? Dasson? Durand? Dirin? Whatever their name is. We have a whole painted version of their family in here. Descendri? They have a whole painted version of the family. For some reason, Aline paints Alicia, still burnt and horribly maimed, and with a mask on. It's a little bit rough, but you know, that's how mothers are when they grieve, I guess. What was I thinking about? Yeah. I'm gonna look up two scenes. The hell? Oh, it's I was like, why is Asmongold crying? This game fucked me up. Oh, it's Clair Obscur. Nice. Clair Obscur. I feel there's a lot you can decipher if you replay the game. And I mean, I'm watching a bunch of people replay it. Unfortunately, I think Preach is probably playing right now. Okay, I have a couple of scenes open, but so in the world, in the painted world, they have no idea what's happening, right? These people are completely lost. And they set out on Expedition Zero, not to go kill the paintress, not to save the world, but to find people. There are so many people have been lost, including we learn, including Eileen. Because that's why the Descendere family goes out. They're like, oh, our mother is missing, or my wife is missing. We gotta go find her. That's why Expedition Zero happens. It's not to go kill the painters. They don't even know about the painters yet. So they head out, and then they find a lot of like answers, and they would probably be out there before the Neverons came into being, I would assume, or like as they were being made, I guess. And the idea is, first of all, I thought this was a recording, but it's actually oh, whoops, didn't mean to that. I thought this was a recording, but it actually happens during the cutscene where our friend Gustav perishes. So here, this is the Expedition Zero log that we hear here in the game.
You let her come. You know she's too weak for this. How could you let her take such a risk?
You only care when things are right in front of you. My sweet child, you are supposed to stay home.
Actually,
I told you not to worry. But since you're here now, just stay put.
What are you saying? You must go home now. This doesn't...
Actually, I thought this was Expedition Zero log. Now that I listen to it again, I think this might just be... Is this just real Renoir and real Eileen talking to Alicia?
Not involve you.
When this is over, we'll go home.
Oh yeah, that's what it is.
No!
That makes more sense. When I first heard this, I thought this was Expedition Zero arriving on the shore, and that Alice had like smuggled herself aboard with them. But I guess this is just them talking to Alicia. We'll watch this one in a second. Hello? There we go. Okay, so Expedition sets out. Eventually they get to the wall, and that's where they meet Clair. And I don't understand the Clair thing at all. Like the Clair thing to me makes very little sense. And I wonder if there's something I'm missing there, because this feels like almost a plot hole. Because Clair's entire thing is that she wants the conflict to end, so she needs her mother to lose. She needs the paintress to lose. She shows up at the wall and she explains everything to the people there. She's like, hey, yeah, so the paintress is actually keeping you all alive, and you are my painted family. This is who you are, this is who you are, this is who you are. Which, I'm not sure what the point of that was. Did she think that they would do what Versa's doing right now? Did she think that by telling them they're not real, they would despair and try to kill the paintress anyway? Or maybe she just wanted them to like leave, like, hey, like go back to Lumiere, just tell everyone they're fake, and then maybe the world will just start falling apart or something. Maybe, maybe they had the opposite reaction to what Claire thought they would have, because obviously the reaction that that comes from that is that Renoir and Verso begin not fighting the paintress but helping the paintress, right? They're like, well, oh crap, like nothing here is real. Nothing here is permanent. Everything here is a painting, and if the paintress loses, we all die. We all vanish forever. And I guess to that extent, Renoir and Verso, at least Verso, no, Renoir and Verso, right? Because Expedition Log, the Julie Expedition Log, they talk about both Renoir and Verso, I think. So both Renoir and Versus are traveling with the expeditions, some of them. But I'm not sure what they're doing. Are they killing Neverons? I guess they're defending the paintress. I'm not entirely sure about that. This is a part of the story where it's like we have so little information, but at least they're traveling with the expeditions. I guess not explaining the full story to them, but maybe the entire thing they were doing was just making sure they would fail, but trying to make sure that they don't, like, fail in horrible ways? I'm not sure. Um, but at some point, Verso decides he's had enough. He's like, he's tired of being a fake boy. He's tired of having all these fake things imprinted on him. He's tired of his fake existence, and so he wants the Paintress to die so that the world will end. And that's kind of where our story starts, right? Expedition 33. It's been 67 years since the fracture, but the world has a story long before the fracture. That's another thing that was confusing at the start too, right? Like, the initial impression that I had, and probably a lot of people have, is that all the creatures here are a result of the fracture, right? The world was completely real, everything was normal, then it fractured, and then all these creatures appeared. All the Nevrons, all the... Oh god, why am I blanking on Gestrels? All the Gestrels, all those furry little guys, all those just appeared after the fracture. But we actually quickly learned that they were here all along. They've been here for centuries in this canvas. Despite the fact that, you know, how old is Verso when he dies in the real world? Probably like... what were the dates above? He was born in 1879 or something? He was like 26? Something like that? So despite the fact that Verso, the person that created this canvas, is only like 26 years old, this world has existed for centuries, so time obviously passes really quickly in here. Might be like 10 years for every like real world year or something like that. But yeah, so the fracture happens, the world is torn apart, expeditions start traveling out, with the primary goal being to stop the Paintress, though... I mean, I don't know. The weird part, and I wonder if this is Verso and Renoir's doing. The weird part is that Expedition Zero apparently returned with information, but I guess that information was not. God damn it! I guess that information was not. Oh hey, by the way, we're painted people, and if you guys kill the Paintress, we're all gonna die. Though it could have been, because I remember one of the logs talked about like a council or something. That like if you went on the bad side of the council, they sent you out to paint, basically, like a silo situation. So it could be that Renoir and Verso did return with that information, but like it was just deemed too dangerous to tell people, and then eventually the people that knew about it just died out. That's entirely possible, right? But at least the expeditions continue, but none of them return. Literally no expeditions return. The only ones that try is Expedition 60, the strong guys, right? They try to swim back to shore to explain to everyone what's happening, but they don't. They sadly do not make it back. Which does feel a bit weird, right? Like, is that Renoir and Verso stopping people from going back so that things will kind of remain the same-ish? Or are they helping the expeditions because they're helping because they want to kill Renoir, I guess. They want to stop Renoir at the bottom of the monolith. I guess that's what's happening. But yeah. Our expedition begins. We have Gustav with us. We have, you know, Gustav, Lune, CL, Mael, and a bunch of other people that just instantly died. They're just instantly vaporized. I'm not sure why. I think we talked about this earlier, but I'm not sure why Renoir shows up at the beach to murder everyone. Because it feels like time is not on his side right now. And I guess the two confusing parts are, one, time is not on his side, right? Because it's counting down, and eventually we'll reach 0, and then the implications are that Aline is just barely holding on, right? She's just barely, like, taking down, like, ooh, I can only save people so much. So, you would think that Renoir would want help now more than ever, first of all. But it feels like he's maybe become a bit delusional too. We can talk about that in a second. But the second part is that he has Nevrons with him. And you would think that he would, if he is on the Paintress' side, you would think he definitely wouldn't want the Nevrons. the Nevrons there, right? Because the Nevrons keep chroma away from the painters. So yeah, not sure about that. But I guess Painted Renoir's entire thing is he talks about wanting his family back, and then Verso says it's not his family, which I'm not sure about that. That seems a bit strange. Is the idea that he wants like a real Renoir's family? Is that like he wants to be part of the real family? Maybe is that what's going on there? I'm not entirely sure. Feels like it could be like a lot of answers. But yeah, we set out on our journey. I'm not gonna go through it step by step, but like Gustav dies. Wait, what? What? The Renoir thing? Painted Verso. No. Here, it's in the scene we just watched. Here, it's in this scene. This has a bit of like a confusing,
To come back now and interfere.
You've lived more than a lifetime. It's time to let her go.
A lifetime. A lifetime with my family torn apart. No. I want my family back.
And I was like, she's your family.
It's not your family.
But she is, and it points on.
But she is.
You know what I mean? So the implication for me here is that Renoir wants the real family. That's the implication for me, right? Why else would I think that's Aline speaking. Oh, you think she's speaking through Verso?
You would use her.
She chose to come. I didn't make the rules between you two.
She chose to come. I didn't make the rules between you two. But the idea implanted in them that he has to protect her or something like that. But I'm just saying, like,
Back.
a lifetime with my family torn apart. No, I want my family back. And then Versus like, they're not your family, but she is. It's not your family. And Versus saying that, yeah, exactly, yeah, that's what I mean, right? So it's like it's a little, it's not confusing, but it's a little bit like narratively complicated, I guess. Can you play when I hit the play button, please? As we progress through the story, we learn, we learn more about the world, we learn more about the characters, we eventually meet Verso. Verso's just being kind of secretive about everything, which kind of makes sense in hindsight, of course. Like, when Verso first shows up, I'm like, why is this asshole just telling us everything? If he also works with us, like, what is he hiding? And then it's like, oh, you are all fake, by the way. It's like, oh, okay, that probably, I can see why he would keep that secret. And also, oh, and also I want to end your world. It's like, oh, okay, I get it, Verso. I can see why we're keeping it a little bit on the down low. But the one thing I'm not sure about, when we fight Renoir, the painted Renoir, what is the lion supposed to represent there, or like the cat? There's like a giant cat that shows up, and I'm like, what was that supposed to be? I'm not sure about that. Eventually, we successfully painted Renoir gets gomashed. We defeat the paintress, and then we head back to Lumiere, and then everyone gets Thanos snapped. He guards the truth with the lies. And that's when we wake up as Mayal, and then we have this scene, which this is also part of why I think there's something like strange going on. Can anyone explain what's happening here to me?
If we bring Maman out of the canvas, she'll try to return. We must hide the canvas.
Well reasoned. And such a clever...
Oh, you don't see it. God damn it. Sorry about that. There's a scene where Mayal starts painting, question mark?
If we bring Maman out of the canvas, she'll try to return. We must hide the canvas.
Well reasoned. And such a clever hiding spot you've chosen.
Like, what is happening here? I don't understand. Like, how is she hiding the canvas? What does that even mean? What does she mean that she's hiding the canvas? Where are they supposed to be right now? I was thinking that inside the painted world, it seems like everyone has their own little like painting area, right? Like the place we go to when Verso finds himself, right? He finds his little boy self. That seems like his little painting area in the canvas. But the implication here is that they have to hide the canvas, because if they push Aline out, then she will just go back inside instantly, right? But where are they? What are we doing here? They took the painting somewhere IRL where they think the mother won't find it. I don't think we're supposed to know. Yeah, but also this doesn't look like a real place, right? First of all, this is just us entering the painting. We're just supposed to enter the canvas here, and then you just take it to a black abyss with candlelight. It is a real place.
This only truly ends if you destroy the canvas.
I think early everyone has something, only everyone has final version. Wait, what is it supposed to be? Oh, it's like spirit animals. But yeah, this scene is what like made me think that like the painting stuff can be more than just in the painted world. Because I don't know where this is supposed to be, like in the real world. You know what I mean? Like, are you telling me the two of them like took this painting frame while Renoir and Alina standing in front of it? They grabbed it and they're like, ugh, and then they carried it like downstairs in the secret basement, like after hiding it. Yeah, but like, how are they hiding it? Yes, you think that makes more sense than there being some crazy painting powers or like some world-shattering abilities that they have? I mean, even the dialogue here, well reasoned and such a clever hiding spot you've chosen. It doesn't sound like Clea has helped her move the painting somewhere. It sounds like Alicia has mentally or metaphorically moved the painting somewhere. That's how I read the situation. Otherwise, why else would Clea do this, right? Also, where have they carried it? Like, give me a break. You tell me these people are just like, all right, let's bring it down to the black dungeon with the candles in it. Maybe we'll take Alicia's room where her mother never goes or something like that. Yeah, but this is what her room looks like, though. It doesn't look like a cave with candles everywhere. That's permanently black on all sides. Wouldn't something metaphorical make way more sense here? Anyway. Pretty certain that part is still yeah, but it can be IRL, like it can be IRL. I'm just saying, like, I feel like there's like, I feel like they're using some powers, some painted powers or something, to create like a sub dimension for the painting or something like that. Like they're hiding it outside of, you know. So I mean something crazy. I mean they can do crazy shit, right? So I'm just saying, it feels like there's something crazy going on. That's all I'm saying. Me chilling here, getting spoiled up the wazoo while waiting for a specific drive. Joke, I have the stream muted. Good. Thumbs up, Mortis. Not right now, okay. Yeah, we're gonna play it soonish. But if Alien is the most giga painter, they can't really use the painting to hide it. Well, no, yeah, but exactly, but that's already accounted for in the dialogue. Clair says,
And such a clever hiding spot you've chosen.
look here. Clair already accounts for that.
She'll still find it, but
Yeah. She'll still find it, but I'm impressed. With one word, how do you like Expedition 33? One word, fantastic. Fantastic. Oh, fantastic. It's incredible. It's incredible. Incredible. Fantastic out of 10, yeah. One of the best games I've ever played, easily. Probably gonna be explained in the next game or DLC or something. Alright, let's more music. Anyway, that's just a little detail I noticed. That is something, you know, this is like a brain tease, right? We probably don't know the answer. Like a lot of theories, right? Yeah. So we get to that part. We get to the epilogue part. Then we get the reveal, which I think most people realized at that point. Though at least watching Soda Pop, and I know some people didn't quite get that. And then we get to the final part of the game, which is essentially Mael, who now knows that what she is, goes around. We repaint people, and then we go and we face a Renoir a final time. We do the final engagement with Renoir. We defeat him, and then we have a choice. We can choose the Mael ending or the Verso ending. Honestly, no hesitation for me. I went for the Mael ending, and I think after seeing both endings, I think they both are real. I think these are two really good endings. Though I have a feeling that I think it's easier to emotionally engage with Verso's ending a little bit. Though actually, to preface this argument, one interesting thing about this whole concept is that nothing here is real, but all the people treat it as if it's real, including the painters, right? The painters aren't, and I think Cash, I think you talked about this too. It's like Renoir doesn't talk down to CL or to Luna or whatever. He's not like he's like, shut up, painting. Why am I talking to you, stupid painting girl? You know, like all the people that are involved in this, they treat these people with respect. They care about them. Like Renoir has no, he doesn't have malice towards them, but he also doesn't like despise them, or he's not disgusted by them because they're painted. And I think even it might be Verso, it might be someone else, but there's talk about them like having souls, which is an interesting concept, right? Like, do these painted people have souls, whatever a soul is worth? Well, I guess actually souls are real in this universe, right? Because a part of Verso's soul is in this canvas. That's why all this is happening. It's because a tiny little fraction of Verso's soul is still in the canvas, right? So we know souls are real in this universe. But then we have this interesting concept of like, this is a real world with real people that have real emotions and real feelings, and the painters treat them like that to a certain extent, right? Like, Clair seems to be the most manipulative. It seems like whatever she did with Simon was just awful, awful, horrible, horrible. I guess Simon was painted Claire's boyfriend or lover or whatever, or they were engaged in some capacity. And at some point, fake Clair like kind of takes over her role and then leads Simon on this pointless quest, where he eventually just gets tormented forever underneath the monolith. But Claire doesn't feel like she's doing it out of malice either. She just needs to be done because, you know, if they fail, then they all die or whatever, right? So, but yeah, that's a really interesting concept, right? So when we get to the ending, we have two endings ahead of us, and I would say I think the Verso ending hit a bit harder emotionally for me, but I think the Mael ending is like. My ending is probably the ending I personally would have chosen. But ultimately, they're both filled with a lot of sacrifice and a lot of like, there's positives and negatives, right? Like, Verso's ending, Verso gets to stop existing in this painful, tormented place. The family gets back together, whatever that's worth, right? Like the real world family. That one that's torn apart. That one gets to exist again. Aline is out of the painting. Alicia's out of the painting. Renoir has his family back, and Claire is obviously happy. But Verso's gone, and so is everyone else in this world, right? They're all dead. They're all just. We're not talking about like you can paint them back again or whatever, right? We're talking about they are permanently gone. Because the idea is that if you could maybe paint the same person, but it won't be the same person, right? That's the idea of the resurrections of the Gestrels, I think. It's the idea that if SKA dies, yeah, he can be painted back again with the chroma in the painting, of course, but he won't be the exact same. And the more that happens, the less like himself he will be, right? Like iterations, right? It's an iteration of an iteration of an iteration. So all the people there are permanently gone. If there's any part of there, I think when Mael repaints Ciel on them, she's like repainting like specific parts of them, right? She's not using imagination to be like, oh, this is who Ciel is, but she's like drawing in like the remnants of their chroma, or whatever, to like, you know, like their soul in the portrait to like remake them. And she can't do that in a new canvas. That doesn't work. She can create facsimiles of them, but she can't create the real things. Yeah, exactly, yeah. So like. Without that chroma, there's no bringing them back again. It's not like you can just be like, oh, I'll just go into a different canvas and paint them all back again, right? There's something specific about this canvas and the chroma in it that is like, it's like connected in a specific way that creates this place. This place is specific to the chroma. You could try to get a copy of it, but it won't be the same. It won't be the same people. They won't behave the same, etc. Right? There's something like, there you are, and it's shown taking chroma or something before leaving Lumiere. Yeah, makes sense. So yeah, that's an important part, I think. So in Verso's ending, we have a happy ending for the family, but a sad ending for Mael and for this world. Everyone you're looking at right now down here, all of these people, excluding Mael, who's there, gone permanently forever. Still not the same though, if we believe them, yeah. And, you know, if I was going to say there's a canon ending to this game, that would be my canon ending. Because I feel like that makes the most sense for, like, a continuous story, right? It's like, if they want to make more games in this franchise, and they want to use these characters at all, then they have to choose an ending. Which might have been a mistake, giving people two endings. Because if they now go with an ending choice, it's going to be hell on earth. People are going to be so upset as spaghetti about it. It's going to be insane. But the Verso ending makes the most sense as like a continuation of the story for me, right? Well, both endings can kind of like be the same, I guess. But they can lead to the same place. But the Verso ending feels like it's more of a neat like wrapping up the bundle. Also, less cruel. Well, let's talk about the Mael side then. The Mael side of the Mael ending, I think is definitely the overall darker ending, but it's interesting. I think that was interesting from the perspective of the other people, right? Like, the implication I got from the Mael ending when we watched it is that in the Mael world, Mael herself is kind of deluded and she's falling apart. She's she is probably growing crazier and crazier, being more and more separated from reality, struggling to like keep the pieces together a little bit. Verso in that ending is obviously not happy about it. He's being held there against his will, but all the other people are there, right? Gustav is alive again. Ciel is there with her husband and their child, I think, right? Even their kid is back, I think. Lune is alive, right? Like, it's a bit of a mixed bag between the two endings, right? Like, in one ending we have a family that's now together again, but Verso is permanently gone. There's no part of him left ever. Nothing for him to do. And Mael is obviously now stuck in a body, in a place she doesn't want to be in, right? While in the Mael ending, Mael and Verso and the family is destroyed. The family is gone. That family is just game over. But the painting persists, right? All the people in the painting are still there. They're still real. They get to live their lives now, and this is a world that will continue on for as long as the painting exists, essentially, right? So yeah, it's a hard one for sure. It's hard for you to classify either ending as like the good or the bad ending. Mel can paint any world she wants to, though, in the worst ending. Yeah, but still stuck in her body, she can still paint and go into the painting of her own. Yeah, but I think the missing piece of the puzzle for me is that Mael hasn't just it's not just about the fact that she can paint herself. It's the fact that she grew up in this painting, right? Like think about it's almost Aline is almost unnecessarily cruel to her, because from Mael's, from Aline's perspective, she can delude herself, right? She can go into this painting and she can maybe delude herself like Mael does in the Mael ending. She can be like, oh, this is my world and I'm real and here's my family, and she can just kind of like pretend to live here. But Mael was forcefully put inside the painting and forced to live a life that wasn't hers, right? She is put inside this painting. She has parents that she doesn't think they love her, but then we learn that they actually really loved her, and she learns that too, right? She learns that those parents they cherished her with all their hearts. They gave her a name that was meaningful to them, and they meant a lot to her. And then she grows up and she has a rough life in here, right? But she meets people that she learns to love. She meets Gustav, who's a second father to her, or a brother, and they go on this journey together. And all of that to her is real, right? To Mael, all that is real. When she leaves the painting, that isn't like, if you take like Renoir, if you take real Renoir, when he's in this painting, it's all fake to him. He's not participating in some. His brain is being deluded to think that he is Renoir in the painting or whatever, right? He hasn't lived the whole life as that Renoir. He is just real Renoir. While real Alicia, and Mael are the same person. When she leaves the painting, all those memories of all the things she experienced and all the friends she made and the life she lived is still in her head. She has two lives essentially, right? Like she is Mael and she is Alicia. It's two characters in one for her, right? She can make a painting the exact same though, since the ending of Act 2 everyone is gone anyway, so none is the same. But that's not exactly true though, right? Because the chroma would still be there, so even if they are not exactly the same, they would still be close enough. But that doesn't change the fact of what I'm saying, right? Like, I think view it as being one of these people. Like, view it as being Lune, right? Let's say you're Lune and you're in Mael's situation, right? That's kind of how this is, right? Because essentially, Mael, if you separate Mael and Alicia, right? They are two different people until they converge in the center. But these are two people that have lived two different lives, right? Mael has lived the whole life, Alicia has lived the whole life, and they're about the same age, right? And they hit in the center, And now you have these two people that are two real people, as far as we're concerned, that now have two lives. One of them is in the painting, one of them is outside the painting. Mael can, of course, take all... Mael can leave the painting, good for her. None of the other painted people can. But Mael can leave the painting, but she is still Mael. She's still the person that grew up in this world, that made all these friends, that had all these experiences. She's still that girl, right? Viewer testers, yeah, and yeah, obviously but that's the point of the ending, right? The point is that someone has to suffer, right? Either Verso suffers or Mael suffers. One or the other. One of them has to suffer. There's no perfect ending in this, right? I don't think there's any argument for which one has suffered the most. I think both situations are terrible, right? Mael doesn't necessarily suffer, Verso 100% does, both painted and Verso. Maybe. I don't think I would say that Mael doesn't necessarily suffer though. I think it's clear from the Verso ending that she does suffer. And I think that, like, just generally, I think it's clear that she will suffer, right? I mean, she didn't. If you rewatch the Verso ending, she didn't look particularly happy at the end. And also, I think it detracts from the endings if we're gonna assume that the Mael ending is bad for me. I think that would just detract from the endings. I think it's more interesting to assume that both endings are equally viable and that both of them carry with them sacrifices. That's a good ending. And arguably, I feel like it's a little bit implied that Mael is trying to suppress Verso in her ending. I think that's the implication I got, at least, that she's trying to, like, stop him from remembering, or she'll suffer, but she has the possibility of not suffering in the future. Verso doesn't. That's not true though, right? Because we don't know if Verso would change his mind in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. That's possible. I mean, if you're gonna make the argument that Verso would eventually be like, oh hey, or Mael eventually, like, gets over it, then Verso can also get over it, right? It's funny how painted character fights for real world and real character for painted world. True. Yeah. True. Well, they're both of them are fighting for an end to their real existence, right? Like, Mael doesn't want to live in the real world. The real world for her is just suffering. It's awful. It's misery. She has nothing there. There's nothing going on for her, and that's the painted world for Verso, right? So both of them are looking for the same solution. It's also kind of spitting in the face of RL versus sacrifice. He sacrifices his life to save her, only for her not to actually live her life. She has her father. Yeah, but I mean, she does live her life though, right? It might not be the life he wanted for her, but yeah. But I don't disagree. I mean, I think both endings are, like, I think it's a rough choice, right? But also, if you just ignore Mael and Verso for a second, right? Like I said before, all of the people here, all of these people are real people with real emotions and maybe souls, right? So if you ignore Verso and Mael's conflict for a second, the Sendry family conflict for a second, Verso's choice also impacts all the other people there, right? Like, Lune has a whole life she wants to live. Ciel has a husband and a child, right? There's a lot of other people there too that get impacted by that decision too, right? It's not just Mael, right? Man, this game is good. I'm just sitting here thinking about the characters and all their lives and all the choices and all the, like, super good emotional moments. I think, and that's, like, the story recap, right? Now we talked about the story. I think the really engaging part about Renoir's also gay affected in the mile ending. He'll manage. Renoir's a big boy. He'll manage. Aline 100% goes back. Oh yeah, she does for sure. Though Aline might be convinced to leave though. I'm not sure, but... And then there are two probably again to get them out. No, Renoir wouldn't come back. I mean, Renoir... regardless of which, like, we have the moment before this, right? Where Renoir talks to Mael. And they have the talk, and Renoir seems content. Like, he's like, oh, I'll keep the lights on or whatever, but it's clear that he, like, I think Verso even says that, like, Verso, he mentioned that Renoir knows that she's not coming out again. The more I think about it, the more Fjord Mael and it seems. I don't agree at all, but you are entitled to your opinion. I think both endings have huge gives and takes. I mean, think about it like this, Cashew. Let's say that you're CL's husband, right? You are CL's husband. You have a child. You have CL. Do you still think Mael's ending is bad? Like, if you're CL's husband, would you argue for Verso's ending? Would you be like, well, I mean, this Verso guy has really suffered a lot. You know what I mean? Like, I would have a really hard time making. If I found out today that I was painted and some dude showed up and he was like, hey, dude, you're not real, but I am also not real, but I want to die really bad, but I can only die if you agree to let me die, and then we all die. If I'm biased, then I'm biased. Yeah, of course. So now to another story recap. I think the really incredible part of this game is that it manages to be intriguing, emotional, and fantastical, kind of all in the same package, right? That's a really hard thing to do. Usually, feels like the game. I said this when we fought Simon. The game feels almost like you're playing a Souls game, like you're playing a Souls story, where in Souls games all the lore is kind of like it's in the world building. It's in like, ooh, there's a tower there, and in the tower you find an item, and then when you find the item that says something, and that, oh, you're like, oh, that's where the tower is here. It's kind of like that, but they actually explain everything, right? Like, you start on and you're like, wow, this place looks crazy. Like, what happened here? What was the fracture? And you think, at least for me, and I think a lot of people, it's like, oh, this was the real world. And then the fracture happened, now everything's so fantastical and crazy and strange. And as the pieces fall into place, it's like, when Gustav died, I didn't feel too emotional about that, because I was like, one, he's gonna come back, but two, I was just like, what is happening in this world? What is this? Who is this guy? Who is this old guy? Who's this Verso dude? Right? My brain is just going 600,000 million miles per hour trying to like puzzle the story together, and it just kept being intriguing over and over and over again. Like, everything kept intriguing me, and there were so many like puzzle pieces and so many things falling into place, and then somehow they managed to actually make it compelling. They managed to make it worth it. They managed to tell a story that makes sense, that you can actually like think about and not be like, what is this plot hole? What is that plot hole? Right? Like, everything feels like it makes consistent sense, and it's all good. Like, it's so heavily emotionally fueled, and it's this like kind of like stupid concept. And it's crazy to me. Like, the performances themselves are incredible, but it's just the writing, and like, usually in games like this, I have a hard time engaging emotionally, and I don't really feel that it's super emotional all the time. In this, there were so many moments I was on the verge of tears. I was just sitting here, like, I started dwelling up, because it was like the game was like speaking to me. Like, there were so many moments, and it's just like two characters talking to each other. It's not just the moments in the game that are like super emotional. Here's the music pumping in the background. It's like Mael and Gustav standing on the ledge here, or Mael and Verso talking by the lake, by the river. Right? It's just small stuff like that just like really hit emotionally for some reason. The SKA saving CL thing, that I was like. I'm getting tears in my eyes just thinking about that moment. That moment, like, broke me mentally. I was like, oh my god, that's incredible. When first of all, because it was foreshadowed, and secondly, because it's just like it's such like an emotionally fueled moment, especially because from SKS, like it's like the two characters, right? Like SKS is described as this dude that's just there. He was like Versal's friend and companion, and he's just supposed to be there when people are at their lowest. And then it's like CL is at her lowest. She's swimming into the ocean to commit murder on herself, and then she's like, somehow I washed up on shore, and then you learn that it's like SK like, oh, he just comes like swooping down like, oh, time for swim, like picks her up and like flies off with her like. Man, it's such like a beautiful, like in my head it's just such a beautiful moment. And I really like the idea of like from SK's perspective, there's not necessarily like huge intention there, right? It's not I'm gonna stop this person from killing themselves. It's just you're just helping someone in need. That's just what it does. And Cash wants SK to die. I don't know what to tell you guys. I do not consider you to be truly alive, ergo I will not be guilty of murder if I kill you. Do not squander it, the legacy I leave you, Verso. After everything, you refuse to see reason. You think it's unfair that you're subject to suffering, that your lives will be sacrificed for the descendants. Look at me. I have lived 1,000 of your 1,000 lives. I've broken bread with you, fought with you, grown ill, grown old, sired children, and yes, welcomed death's sweet embrace. For eons I have measured your worth and found you wanting, too weak and feeble-minded to serve as steward of any painting. Her answered me on Instagram. Maybe I ask her. Wait, what is the quote from? Is that from 14? Oh, it's from World of Warcraft. Okay, that makes sense. Fake 14, but I can't remember this. Just so there's no Final Fantasy 14 references. That's Emmett. Oh. Well, I guess I squandered it. So yeah. Character writing, super good. Like, Omega excellent characters. Story writing, great. Like, all this stuff is just incredible. No notes. Just one of the best stories I've ever experienced in my entire life. This will linger in my brain forever. This is one of those games that I wish I could erase my brain so I could just play it again, right? But honestly, this probably hits really good on the second run, maybe even harder, especially since all the moments now I will understand them. When I see something, I'm like, oh shit, right? Remember them? Remember that they once lived? Did they talk more about 14? Yeah. So that's the story. Gameplay in this game is great. Like, it's one of those things again where you're like. You go into this game, and I had no expectations for anything. You see it's turn-based, you're like, oh, it's a turn-based game. And then you figured the game would be kind of limited, and then it isn't. It's just this like crazy hodgepodge of pictos, of voluminas, of weapons, weapon upgrades, skills, and all of it comes together and like multiple characters that all work differently, and all of it comes together in an absolutely insane way. You keep playing. And then, as you get into stuff introduced to you, you're like, oh, okay, let's do that. And then you like keep doing that over and over again, and it just keeps blowing my mind. I'm like, oh, this thing. Whoa! You find like one picture, and you're like, holy shit, this opens up like 60 different builds all of a sudden, right? Which is absolutely insane. You just keep doing it over and over and over again. It's one of those weird experiences where it's just like, usually in games like this, like it feels like you like plateau at some point, right? You're like halfway through the game, you're like, okay, I have my build now. For me, it was like constantly like, oh shit, this thing, oh this thing, this thing, this thing, this thing. It felt like I was constantly adapting and building and becoming more and more powerful until we are at the point we are now. And second on, you listen to music during Gamache and realize this is Renoir track. Oh shit! Oh shit! Really? That's insane. Oh my god, that's cool. But yeah. The game does it flawlessly captures a lot of elements from different genres, and I think a lot of people said it's like Paper Mario, and the director dude said like he hasn't played Paper Mario, but he heard that too. But it's like the you have a really tightly knit turn-based system with some quick time events, which is really cool. Based on some weaknesses and some synergistic combos between the characters and for themselves. And then on top of that, you have the parry, the evade system that includes gradient parry, dodge, and jump. And all of these together create a really compelling experience that has a lot of the best parts of other games, right? It's like anytime I managed to do an insane parry like 5 times in a row, felt incredible. My heart is beating. I'm like, oh shit, I'm the best. And then because you get the counterattack at the end too, you feel even better. You're like, oh shit, I got the counterattack. With maybe the only problem being that parrying in this game is way too powerful. It's one of those things that, like, if you ignore all other parts of the game, if you can parry, you win the game. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how bad you are, how bad the build is. If you can hit that parry button over and over again, you just win. Every encounter. There's no encounter you're not winning if you can parry. But ultimately, you take no damage, right? So, if you still took like a little bit of damage, so you still had to like maybe watch your health a little bit, or heal once in a while, or there was like a soft DPS check because you can only take so many parries, maybe. But as it stands, you can if you parry, you win, and if you grab the things that make you better when you parry, you win even harder. So you know, that's whatever. I think and like just to have it mentioned so I don't forget, music in this game incredible. So I said this earlier, some of the best music I've heard in any game. If this game doesn't run away with, like, this game not winning Game of the Year would be insane, but this game not winning every music award for every music game award thing this year would be crazy. There's no shot, no balls. Yeah, and now that I've said all the stuff that I like about the game, I might have forgot some stuff just off the top of the dome, but with that said, there are some negatives, and to mention some of the negatives, number one, the lip sync is not great. I got over it like midway through the game. I kind of like didn't notice it too much anymore, but the lip sync does suffer, and it does make some of the scenes a little bit distracting. Like when they're really emotional and they're saying something, but their mouth is like not moving or moving in a different direction. A little bit distracting. That's something they could work on. I think that these conversations right here.
What will you do when this is all over? I'm having trouble imagining you living a normal life in Lumiere.
I think this is a little bit of a conceit, something that they had to do because of budgets and they didn't have time. I think this has two problems. One, kind of making these dialogue boxes and making it back and forwards breaks the flow of the dialogue a little bit in a game that's really dialogue heavy and that's really good dialogue, right? Because now it's static. Now it's Lune speaks, I speak. Yeah. Lune speaks, I speak.
I can live in a city anymore. I don't know.
So you have none of the stuff that happens in regular dialogue where the characters speak over each other, they will like interject, they will break in, right? That doesn't happen here. So that makes this a little bit bad. The second part is that you have to like physically, you know, push the button to advance it. This is annoying to me. And this also breaks the flow of the conversation for me.
Well,
didn't like this.
Since we mere mortals, so I can...
Do you mean...
A painting
but hey, it was all voiced, so I mean that's good. I can't complain about it all being voiced. And honestly, that was a great choice. Thank God they voiced that stuff, because otherwise that would have been a great mark against the game. Because those scenes are great. It's just the fact that the fact that the dialogue is very static in them feels a bit bad from time to time, and the fact you have to push the button to advance breaks the flow for me. So those are kind of like a little bit like nitpicky, not huge problems. I think the 3 big problems this game has, like a gun. Like I'm Gustav at the start of the game. I think it's just 3. Maybe 4. Let's say 4 big problems. There are 4 big problems in this game. Problem, and we'll do them in the order. Well, some of them are. Let's just do problems. Problem number 1. The map looks great, but I would have loved to have maps in all the areas, like just a map I can open up, and I would love to have markers on the maps, or for the maps to autofill markers, right? Because I went back when we got that blast open thing ability. I went back to every area and I looked at everything and found everything I could to blast open. That's fine. But then I later get the diving ability. So it would have been nice for those to already be marked on the map, or for me to be able to mark them myself, right? Same with like areas I didn't go to yet, right? I go to an area, it says dangerous, I'm like, alright, I'll come back here later. But the problem is that there's a lot of areas in the game, and having to fly around and be like, oh, have I been here? Have I been here? Like, that's annoying. Wish I could avoid that. So I feel like the map should have probably automatically updated with things to find, or at worst, give you an option to put markers down yourself. Oh god, number 2. Maybe the biggest problem for me, at least. But, actually, number 2. Tied to number 1. I think that all the areas should just have a level on them. This is kind of tied to one of the other points, but I think every area you go to should say level. So when I swim out and I find an area and it says the beach and it says super dangerous, it should say level 50 plus recommended or something. Because then you could at least try to make sure that you do the areas in an intended order, so that no area is too easy or too difficult, right? That way you could avoid being like, ooh, you know, at the end of the game, I went to an area, and it was like, oh, this is really hard, and that's fun. There's an area that's like, oh, I'm one-shotting literally everyone. Oh, it's a boss here. Oh, he dies in one shot, right? That's not fun. So I really, really wish they would have just implicitly on the map, explicitly on the map, shown you like the beach, and then just said level 45 plus. You're like, alright, cool. I'm gonna get level 45. I'm gonna go back there. I think that would have been good for people that at least want to keep that challenge. I guess maybe this was a choice they made because they didn't want, like, we don't want the game to be checklists and numbers and blah blah blah. Whatever. I think that would have been a good concession. Just don't tell us like the exact level range maybe, but at least give us like a level indicator, like you should go to this area when you're that level. That would save a lot of heartache. And since we're on that subject, the balance. The game has a lot of build potentials. It has a lot of different things you can do. It has a lot of crazy cool things. But ultimately, it is extremely easy to break the game, even without any of the buggy weapons. And it trivializes a lot of the challenges. I struggled with, and in the game, I think we had like 3 or 4 fights I struggled with in Act 3, when we were done with everything, right? There were 3 or 4 fights I struggled with, but for the most part, every fight was just do the same 3 abilities, they're all dead. GG, no re, see you later, sayonara. And that is fine if people want to play that way. It's fine if I googled our best Expedition 33 build for 1-shot power, right? If I did that, no, like, that's on me. If I want to play that way, that's cool. But I was just trying to make an effective build. I wasn't trying to break the game. I was just picking up pictos like, oh, this is good, I should grab this, right? And it feels like the game should be more balanced so that all the encounters that you face are sufficiently challenging and fun if you want them to be that. Sure, I could have nerfed myself. I could have been like, oh, I'll just not use his abilities or whatever. But, Chancellor immediately. Oh, cool. But if I did that, it just feels a little bit like I'm not like enjoying the building anymore then. So, so yeah, the game could use a big balance overhaul where they just made sure that the game wasn't so easy to break. Especially when you think about all the like pictos that don't really get used, right? Like there was a lot of potential builds we can do here where we're like, oh, let's do one of these like healing builds, right? Let's do one of these builds where we do a lot of free aiming on all our characters, or let's do a build where we buff a lot, right? Like we try to get as many buffs as possible. There's a lot of stuff like that. We were like, oh, that could have been cool, but fortunately not happening. Messenger, when I was finishing the game, to thank her and said I can't wait to cosplay Verso, and she replied and asked to share it when I do. Oh, nice. And final problem for me, and arguably tied with the biggest problem between the balance, is no loadouts. I'm in the game still, so I don't know anything about Final Fantasy XIV. So this game has a ton of build potential, which is really, really cool, right? we go to this thing, and we go to upgrade attributes, and here we have attributes based on our weapon, and this is cool, right? It kind of makes sure that different weapons are a little bit different in how you play them. So much focus on speed, so much focus on being more tanky, so much focus on critting more, whatever. Cool. And then we have our skills, and we have a ton of different skills, right? Like, we're at the end of the game, we can have everything now, but while you're playing the game, you're like, ooh, like, I wanted Terraquake. I was like, this looks really cool. Deals low earth damage and break damage to all enemies every turn for 3 turns, up to 5 turns. Damn. Like, this is so cool, right? Like, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, we can do an earth build, we can do a thunder or fire build, we can just do like a general, like, oh, an ice build, like, right? There's a lot of like build potential here. And then you, as you look at that, you're finding weapons, and you're like, oh shit, the ice weapon. Ice skills cost 1 SAP, 20%. Dude, the ice weapon with the ice build. Holy sh! Like, right? Like, you're making this build, and you're like, and then I can grab the Picto that gives me the ice thing, and I'll grab the Lumina that increases the slow duration. You know, there's a lot of stuff like that where you're like, in your head you can imagine builds, and then to build on top of that, you to build on that, you also come across encounters that might require different things. It might be an encounter against a fire enemy, unless you guys are fire guys. So you're like, oh shit, I can't do anything else against this guy because all my dudes are fire damage. So then you're like, I better do an ice thing then, or a lightning thing, or anything that isn't fire. And there are times in the game where you're actually incentivized to do different builds, where it's like, in this fight, maybe you'll benefit more from having a supportive Lune, with a Mael that does damage. Maybe in this fight it's better Verso is the damage dealer, and like Mael is doing her buffing or whatever, right? There are times in the game where builds would matter. The problem is that doing different loadouts in this game is the most tedious and awful thing ever. It's like, first you have to decide on your weapon. So you're like, okay, we're gonna use the Kolim or the Korra limb, and then you have to go in here, and then you have to respec your attributes. And then you have to go in here and learn the skill, respec your skills and learn the skills that you want. And then you have to go into your Pictos, and you have to see what Pictos you want on equipping these, and equipping your skills. Then you have to go to your Luminas and equip the Luminas you want, and then it's just like, that is so much work to switch out a build for maybe one encounter, right? So most of the time, instead of like doing the encounter the easy way by making a new build, I just bomb rushed it. It was just like, all right, let's just do this 10 times and YOLO it and hope it works out, right? And that's kind of boring. I wish I was more incentivized to do different builds, and I think with the loadout system they can do that really, really easily. I think a big problem too is that I kind of wish you could favorite things on specific characters rather than in general. That way I could be like, okay, you know, these 3 are my favorites on Lune. I use this on Lune, so they're favorited. And like these Luminas, right? Because for me, I favorited all the ones that looked interesting, but that's a lot of them. And some of these are only interesting, like the free aim stuff was only interesting on Verso for me particularly. So it's like, I have all of this stuff here, when some of this is only interesting on one particular character. I would have loved to be able to be like, oh yeah, let's favorite this one on this character. That would have been really, really nice too. Yeah, that's like my biggest gripe, I think, is just the lack of a loadout system. Which would have made a big deal. Yeah. At frame builds, I can't relate, but I see people being giga annoyed by flying bosses. Oh, yeah, but that's also something a loadout system would help with, right? Flying bosses is a really good example. That was the one I did in the Falling Leaves, where I was like, all right, I have 2 choices now. Either I just do this fight where I just shoot ineffectively and I hope to counterattack every attack and just use damage that way, or I go and I respec every goddamn character and I spend like 2 hours giving them new Luminas and stuff to free aim shoot them down, and then the fight would have been completely trivial, right? But that would have been fun. But the problem is that I'm not going in here for 3 different characters, switching out all their Pictos, switching out all their skills, switching out their weapons, switching out their Luminas over and over and over again, and then like, oh, okay, we're done with the encounter. Okay, let's switch it back. You know, that's just way too frustrating for me. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Did we forget anything? Is there any unanswered questions we didn't talk about? Oh, I think an interesting thing too is also I think this game needed elemental weaknesses for me to just made Lune awkward, so I kicked her quickly. Yeah, that's also a thing that like isn't utilized too much. Oh yeah, that's another thing I want to talk about. Yeah, I think that having different enemy types with different like weaknesses is cool, but I think if you're doing that, we can build this in two ways. If you're doing that, you need two things. You need a way for me to see what weaknesses they have in game once I fought them. Because I don't want to remember that in my brain. I want to be like, oh, I already fought Molten Giant. Let me go to see what his stats are, right? That's number one. Because it's pointless to have those things in the game if you're not going to give me information on them. Number two is, God, please, if Guillaume, if that's how I say your name, if you are watching this somehow, some way, in the future, please, sir, I understand why this game doesn't need to have numbers for everything that is in the game for inexperienced players that just want a casual story experience. And even for extreme players, or hard players, whatever it's called, I manage it. But please have an option to toggle on damage numbers. I just want to know what very high single target lighted damage is. That's all I ask of you, please. Please, sir. This would just make the game way more fun for me to be able to actually know what the abilities do. Especially when you guys apparently use indicators like extreme to indicate 100 to 600% damage. If the things don't even mean the same, just tell me. This could just say deals 80% light damage or whatever. Just like, let me see the numbers, because there are numbers, right? You're obfuscating the numbers, they don't need to be obfuscated. Please, if there's one thing, one simple little thing, that would be it. That's all I want for Christmas. I just want this to say, either it should say exactly how much light damage this does, deals 10,000 light damage, or it should say like deals percentage light damage, right? It's the same for like the fire, right? Like, I have burn stacks on the enemy, I have 633 burn stacks. I don't know how much damage that's gonna do, especially not because some of the burn stacks do different types of damage. Like, Versos, because of the Corpso, deals 300% more damage per burn stack. And I think that's only his burn stacks though, right? That's not all the burn stacks. So, some of the burn stacks are doing more damage than the other burn stacks. It's just like, I just want to know how much damage stuff is doing so I can make more educated choices in the game. Rather than being like, oh, like when I fought Simon, right? I fought Simon at the end, and then I was like, I had 3 gradient charges. Simon had like, he had like 10 million health left or something. And I'm like, should I use a Skybreak? Because this deals extreme damage to all enemies, 1 hit. I was like, should I use this? Or should I wait for Gamache? Because Gamache deals extreme void damage 1 hit. And it turns out they do an equivalent amount of damage? Maybe? Possibly? But it's like, I have no way to know. So when I fought Simon, that was just a risk. I could have just risked that for no reason, right? It would have been better to just tell me, this is going to do... either give me a percentage or tell me this is going to do 40 million damage. Just give me the number when I'm targeting Simon, you know? That would be pretty nice, thank you. Dankeschön. I was going to say, the thing about the elemental weaknesses that is interesting, that we didn't talk about, and that isn't explored too much, is that there are 2 things, actually. One, in this world... Oh, I guess we didn't talk about the mimes. I have no idea what the mimes are either after finishing the game. One, you can have paintings inside paintings. So this gives a bit of credence to the Inception theory with the writers, right? Like, if the painters exist inside a written world, then the painters can paint a world inside the painted world, right? Because Mael has promised to paint the outside world for Lune inside the painted world. So there is paintingception. But also, the way Lune is like a mini paintress, right? Because she has the ability to manipulate the pictos. She can manipulate the painted parts of the world, which is really, really cool in hindsight. That's really interesting, but it's also really, really cool, right? It's one of those, like, you know, it makes you think about what else she could possibly do then. Could she learn to have the same abilities as a paintress in the world? I don't know. Yeah. Alright, let me open up some stuff and then we can throw this freaking game in the garbage where it belongs. You know what? No, you know what I say to this French game? I say p'tu, p'tu. That's what I say to this French game. Dim, da di dum. There might be some stuff that I'm forgetting to talk about because I've been rambling for a while now. I think it's been like 2 hours or something of rambling. But I think I've said most of what I think about this game. Was Clair Obscur even on my like X thing here? Yeah, this is how little I was planning to play this game. Wait, did I type it wrong in my title too? Oh, I did. It's Obscur with one E. Without the E, whoops. Whoopsie. Or wait, this isn't written wrong here. No, it isn't. I wrote it wrong. God damn it. Where'd it go? Alright. Streamed. Yup. Played. I don't even have the time here. It's 27 and 61 and a half. And we finished this game in 80 hours. Wait, I did on the wrong one. Oops. Alright, end on scale. 10 is a flawless masterpiece. 9, everyone should play this. 8, good experience worth playing. 7, good play if it sounds fun. 6, alright, play if you like the genre. 5, average. 1 to 4, avoid little costs. I mean, listen. We don't need to beat around the bush that this game is going to be in the 9s, right? That's just a given. The question is how deep into the 9s we put Clair Obscur. The question always for me with what's the highest review game so far? 9.9. What game? At least Alan Wake 2, I think, and Outer Wilds. Might be one more, but I don't remember. We can look. It's Alan Wake 2 and Outer Wilds. Disco Elysium and Red Dead Redemption 2 almost made it there.
Hey, mister.
Ah, there, mister. .9 is fair. The thing I usually ask myself about a game at this point, so part of it is a little bit of trying to be objective about it, right? And is this objective a game everyone's gonna love? No. But my thing for games to get that like really high in the 9s is just how much did I overall enjoy the game? I was never bored. And do the flaws of the game subtract enough from it to detract from the overall experience? And I would say pretty much no. And combined with the fact that this game got me emotional so many times, and that I feel like I'm gonna think about this game all the time. I'm super excited for a sequel. I think 9.9 is fair. I agree with Cashew. I think, has he given... I have. We have 3 9.9s. Well, I just gave it a 9.9 now. Is that a what? 9.2 on OpenCritic? Well, I guess we know where it is ending up on the list, huh? I don't know why I keep adding that E at the end. Shit game, shit rating. Yeah, you're a little shit boy, aren't you? Alright. Well, that's a wrap, guys, for Clair Obscur. Expedition 33. Gonna suck. Final score 3.3 times 3. True. True. Gonna suck to be out of this, but unfortunately, all good things do have to come to an end sometimes. I have very little interest in playing the game again, myself personally, but I do want to watch other people play it a lot. I'm watching Solarpop do it, I'm watching Preach do it. I'm watching Jin do it. I'm watching a lot of people, now I think about it, play through it, so... Flip it around, upside down, 66.6 for me. Yeah, I mean, really good game. Actually, I put it in the DLC category. Let's hope for DLC for this game. DLC. Alright. Well, with that done, I guess I can do that. We can leave on this beautiful, beautiful note right here. We can play an hour and a half of another game. Dim dum da di dum. I can watch 1.5 hours of Pacific Drive, I guess. It's the bag 403.